Hey viewers, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a Craftsman 179cc overhead valve engine. It is for a snowblower. If you follow the series, you'll know that I just pulled it off a two-stage Craftsman snowblower, 24-inch cut capacity, whatever width, whatever you want to call it. It's a general purpose motor, but it's used on that snowblower, 4-stroke. And it is blown, and how you always have to figure out what happened before you go to fix or rebuild anything. So what I think happened, I'll just cut through it. I think the guy drained the oil. I found the oil plug to be hand loose with zero oil in the crankcase, blown connecting rod and or other internals and or completely blown. And I think he probably put the oil in here. He claimed he added oil. You just get bits and pieces of a story. So I have a feeling it's in there. So I'm going to start by just, draining the gas, because that's got to come out anyway. But that'll kind of tell the story if that is the story. I don't know. I bought it as a used piece of equipment. I knew the rest of the machine was working up until this point. Whether this one even gets repaired, or I replace it completely, or just throw out the whole machine, I don't know yet. Recycle. I do not throw out machines. So let's let the internals of this one tell us the story. Obviously bad connecting rod because we don't have any compression when we pull it. So let's see, possibly this one can be saved if it didn't damage the block, the head, the piston itself, maybe reusable, or it could be all blown inside. Sometimes as a camshaft or crankshaft is blowing, it goes up to the camshaft, and a lot of these have a decompression lever with the spring, and it breaks that off, and then you're into more rebuilding or repairing than you might be willing to do. So no guarantees we're going to have a victory on this one, but let's tear it down and see what we got. So what I'm going to do for today is there's going to be a little noise. I'm going to turn on this ventilation booth. I just happen to have a workshop here today with the ventilation booth, so let's use it for the fumes. That's not working very well. Okay, I think I got some in my bucket, but I don't see any oil. Okay, so that solves the mystery. There never was any oil put in there. That is pure gas. All right, we got the engine drained of all its gasoline. There was no oil in the gas, so when he said he put the oil back in, we don't know. Now we know that didn't really happen. I'm just going to start disassembling whatever I see. Ultimately, what we want to get off is this cover to really look in the block, because that's where the problems are, and then we can see how extensive they are. And here's a nice rusty one. Oh, look at that. That probably gets us access to that cover now. Good. And what else? A couple here. Not too easy. Get a 10 mil. I really just want to get in that cover, that back engine cover, to see how much damage we have. That'll tell us the whole story of, is it even worth going any further for this engine, or how far we're going to go. If we see it's got a hole through the block and a piece went up and hit into the top, you know, broke through the piston, went inside the head, broke that too. We could make a quicker decision. There we go. That'll get us in as far as we need to see. This cover, I believe, is free, except for the oil tube here has to come up and out. So let's take that. Can I pull it up? Can I push it up? Can I pry it up? I'm going with the prying on this particular day. It's probably got an O-ring here. And it's obviously never been out, because why would it? There we go. Now we got it moving. And it's not going to come out unless the tank comes off. So let's do that. All right, I'm going to hit these two first, and I think I got to get some on the side here. Let's see what comes off. Let's see what this gets us. Oh, that gets us where we need to get. Can I get that thing started getting out of its hole? We can come up through. We don't have to remove the tank just now if we don't want. It's really got to come up, but if I pull it out, then I can't pull it up because the tank is there. That's the only way I could get any leverage on it. There we go. Got it. Now I'm going to find a way to get this tipped back. Well, we can tip it all the way back. We got no gas in it. We'll go around and get those, get that cover off. Bring it back. Okay, before I get too excited on removing the case, let's get the rest of this pulley, which apparently started life as a two-piece pulley. I wasn't sure if that was broken or what. Then if you did have any rust, I got a little bit here. I'm going to take a little sandpaper. I'm going to sand that first before I pull the cover. Otherwise, you end up ripping your seal if you do get a chance to reuse it. So far, I don't see any rods sticking through the bottom, the sides, but you know, just in case everything's reusable, let's just clean that up a little bit. Emery cloth is the right thing, of course, for metal. I have sandpaper. That's what I got with me today. It'll do the job. Just get most of that off so it doesn't, I still got a little down there, but it's not rough, it's just discolored. Now we can go with the case bolts, side cover bolts, whatever you like to call them. And if you don't have one of these mini impacts, you could do it, but it's just way easier. Just snaps them loose real quick. Whereas if you're doing it with a wrench, it's going to kind of try to turn on you and stuff. Use what you got. But if you get a chance, it's a good thing to have. There we go. It's moving. And the carnage begins. So just take a quick look at the case. Nothing stuck in my bearing. Everything looks good. All the bosses are still there, so we didn't break that piece anyway. But there it is. The camshaft is broken clean in half. Here is those decompression levers I was talking about that sometimes get broken, but don't worry about that because the whole camshaft is busted right in half. So that looks like it took quite a hit. Get you down in here and we can see, you're seeing it as I'm seeing it. These are all pieces of the connecting rod. And it is completely pooched. You can see all the rub marks in what was the bearing area. And we can see, if I turn this, which isn't hard because there's no rod on it, we can see the bluing, the blue areas there. That means that thing got stupid hot, which we pretty much could guess, as there was molten metal spinning on it. Here's the dipper assembly. That's where it dips in the oil and spreads it around for you. So yeah, camshaft completely gone. There's the other half of it, or quarter of it, whatever you want to. So far, I don't see, I see a lot of sharp metal that's on my finger there. I do not see where it's hit this block at all, so we might have got lucky. I see a little ding here, but I think that's just the way it's cast. Get you more in the shot there. This little ding, I think that's normal. I can't really see up into the whole bore, but the piece I see looks good, and the rod is right here. I'm touching it there. So the piston wasn't all the way up as it broke, so that probably might have saved that. I see a lot of melted metal. The aluminum spins itself on and attaches to the crankshaft, so that will have to be removed if we redo this. So far, I don't see anything that would prevent us from rebuilding this one, but we'll still do some investigating before we claim victory. All right, I'm just going to pull these lifters out, look at them, see if we got anything going on there. You can just take these on a flat surface and roll them, you know, just to make sure they're not bent too, but I don't think so. Looks like what took most of the hit on this one was that camshaft, which is in between the lifters. I'm calling these lifters. Some people tappets, whatever you want to call them. That probably protected that. So to get the crankshaft out, we're going to have to pull the flywheel, which means we're going to have to pull a whole bunch of other stuff. So I'll bring you back in a bit. Got you spun back around there to the front. Let's take off this recoil and start excavating down to the bare block. So at least where we can get the flywheel off to get that crankshaft out. And further. Let's see what's holding what. This stuff here is all held on by a couple screws here. A couple bolts. Different size. Maybe that one? Yes. That put the air box, I guess. Pulled the air box. I probably got to pull this knob. I assume just by prying straight out. Yes. This knob probably the same. I'm going to try to get behind it. Send it to me. There we go. This is why I want to do this inside for an outdoor machine, is when the plastics get cold, they will get much more brittle. If you live in a northern climate anyway, like I do. What comes off to release what? I see one down here, one there. That one's in the way. Get an extension. The oil drains in the way of this one a little bit. That gets the underlying thing off, but what about this front piece? I guess these? Maybe? No, probably not these. Probably these. I talked about those earlier and I didn't do them. We'll get it. I'm learning too. Every engine's got a little bit different, like this one has the electric starter. Otherwise, if you were even if you were used to working on these, you wouldn't know that because not all of them have an electric starter on it. Something they add at the factory if you order it that way. Okay, that did not take it off. So we will take those original screws I had planned on. Pretty soon we'll have all the screws. There we go. That's the one. I was holding this front piece away. That was what was holding me up there. Nice. Here I'm going to take the plug off for the kill switch, and I'm going to take the primer bulb off here. No reason to mess around up at the carb. Just leave that complete. Good. There's that air box I took off earlier. Good. Now, how far are we away from getting this? Okay, another one here. Something silver here. Some sort of heat shield, maybe? I'm going to take the starter off next. That's probably 8mm, I'm guessing. Oh, those are in there pretty good. Okay. Here's another one. I'm going to try to take this tank off next. See if I can see what's holding this all in. Bigger size again. That gets me a bracket. Some of the tank. Do I dare take all this? Sure. Let's go big. Just keep taking it apart till everything comes apart. Here's another one for the tank. Let me spin it. Let's see if we got that tank now. Yeah. Let me get some pliers. Get that tank fuel line off the tank. Nice. We're getting down to it. Here's that thing, that silver thing I was seeing. That's connected in two places, so you can't get this off unless you can get at that bolt. I guess you could have used the wrench sideways, but it looked a little tight. This one I'm going to do manually just to get that out of my way. With what I mean manually is not with the power tools. And it's stripped. Let's try to get a, there we go. Nice. Now, can we get this? No, because we got another bolt. What you'll find is a lot of these motors are you know, cloned Hondas or whatever. This one, I've never seen one quite like this. Little different than most that I've had. The next thing we want to get is that big flywheel nut in there. All right, onto the big flywheel nut. This one's like 3/4 inch. I don't know what it is in metric, but it might be metric. Let's see if this little minigun can take it off. If not, we'll go bigger. Oh yeah, come right off. Now what we need to do is lift and shock at the same time. And I will show you my technique that is borrowed from someone else, like most techniques in life. Lift up on it, so you're getting it. You're going in here and you're prying against something solid. Well, let's get the plastic piece off, okay. You're prying against something solid. You're lifting that flywheel up a little bit. Then you're going to shock this centerpiece quickly with a hammer, and it usually just falls right off. There's a tapered shaft and a tapered inside of the flywheel, and it'll release it. So I'm putting a little tension. We're pulling the flywheel up. That's all it takes. And here is the flywheel key. Do not lose that. That came out of here just a second ago, and a lot of times it'll stick on the magnets and disappear. And if you're looking for it, that's where you'll find it. Now I have my crankshaft available to pull backwards. I'm going nice and slow. Whoops. There we go. And yes, it is. Let me get you in the shot here. There we are. Yes, it is in very, very rough shape. There is molten remnants of aluminum all the way around. Some of it rough, some of it smooth. Not good, but I do have a method of hand. Okay, get this piece out of the side here. Now the next thing I don't know, because like I say, I've never really seen this exact engine before, is how this governor works, and if that's damaged, broken, missing pieces. I don't really understand how that works. So I will have to look at some diagrams to tell me. This bearing looks good. Again, the bore doesn't look cracked. I'm going to pull the piston next, and for that, I'm going to pull the head. You can probably pull it backwards, but if I have to put a new one in, it's got to go through the top anyway to use the ring compressor. So let's just pull off the Band-Aid, quit avoiding it, and remove it. Ah, and there goes one of my push rods. And the other one already fell out off camera. So that's fine. Let's get in here. See if I got you in the shot. No, I don't. Let's get at those valve cover bolts first. Where's my socket adapter? Of course it is. Where did that 10mm go? Come on, we've all done it. Is that it? No, that's not it. Bring you back when I find it. Uh-huh. I feel gasket ripping. Oh, and also the rubber hose just out of the shot there. The rubber hose is still attached for that also. Slide that out. Cool. That's the wrong size again. These are the bolts for the head itself. And the other ones are completely obstructed because I still got the muffler on. More excavating, please. I'm calling it excavating because that's kind of what it is. You're digging until you get to where you need to get. Probably take the muffler heat shield off. That's asking for a breakage of bolt. This one was stored inside and it's amazingly rust-free for most things. Yeah, they're semi-stripped. Nah, maybe better than I thought. That'll expose us some more bolts. Let me pick these ones off the floor before I lose them and kick them underneath somewhere. Good. Muffler. I think we have to take it off because I got to get at this bolt right here. And I think it's gonna, I don't like taking off more than we have to. All these shields and everything, boy, are these gonna be all fun to figure out where they all go back later on. Months after you think you're gonna have it put back together when the parts finally arrive. Yes, I've been there. It always seems like oh, I'll remember. I just did that the other day. Now, sometimes it's not the other day, it's much later. Normally, I wouldn't take all these off because it's a possible extra gasket you're going to have to buy, provide, whatever. And if you're trying to do it to make money or save money or not spend money, let's just say that, then that is counterproductive. This one happened to come off perfectly clean. Those are those aluminized type gaskets that don't usually tear, but they can, just like anything else. What size? That's the wrong size, right? What were we doing on those? No. How many different sizes can one engine have? I gotcha. Man, you got to take every bracket off this engine to even do a simple service. Absolutely incredible. I have to take this bracket off to get at that head bolt. Not made with serviceability in mind. Or not made with easy serviceability in mind. Yeah, now you got full access. Like, why did they have to wrap that thing around there? I'm just keeping this because that's going to stay there, and then this stuff's going to go away when I pull the carburetor off, or when I pull the head off. When I pull the head off, the carb's going to come, so let's just take off the linkages now so we don't turn them into spaghetti. Very nice. Oh yeah, that one came off easy. Oh, and here's one of the caps for the top of the valves. Almost lost that. Or top of, yeah, the valve stem. Good. Got that clear. There's our head. Looks good. No damage. So nothing got up into the bore. Good. I see a couple little pieces, but that's probably just from the gasket stuff, the little powdery. Let me try to push that piston up through. It won't. Okay. Try to hit it up through. I try to make it not make any calls on victory until we see everything. Because the side of that bore could have a big gouge that we didn't see, didn't know about. Actually, for an engine that ran out of oil, they usually say if you can feel them with your fingernail, then it's too much. Those are right on the border of whether I would reuse that or not. Here's your connecting rod, or what's left of it, and the bore. Let me wipe it out. There's oil in it, so it's going to give us a little bit of a false idea of what it's really like. Let me get you up in there. Yeah, it looks okay. Looks okay. So, if we desired, we could rebuild this, starting with just this little block, and get all the 100% debris out of there. Make sure that governor is how it's supposed to look. New connecting rod. Take off the aluminum that's onto the steel here, and or, you know, replace that if you were so inclined. You know, how far do you go? That's up to you to decide.